Walter Overcaudja, you're welcome indeed to another edition of the programme. Now, don't forget later on we're crossing the Irish Sea once again to join Martin Logan, who's out and about with the Irish community right across the UK. And some great stories coming up, so look out for that. But this week we're coming to you from a place that needs no introduction, one of the most iconic religious sites in Ireland, and that is the Basilica here in Knock. Una, you're the Director of Music here at Knock. Novena coming up, what have you planned for it?
Well, yes, as you say, the Novena is coming up now. August is our busiest month here at Knock Shrine. The culmination of our year, really, I suppose, is the National Novena. It goes from the 14th to the 22nd, as you know. And every day we have two ceremonies, one in the afternoon at 3:33 and then at 8:30 in the evening. For all of those ceremonies, we like to have different music, so we invite choirs from around the area to participate. On top of that, then, we use our own music department. We have several choirs running from the shrine here. Our local parish choir, Knock Parish Choir, our Witness to Hope choir, and we also have a beautiful scola which sings. So we combine all those together and separately, and then use participants from other areas around County Mayo and further afield as well. And that's how we approach the Novena musically. This is just the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, really, to receive the Holy Father to Knock. It's very tight because he's here only a few days after the Novena, so we have a very busy time ahead of us. Yes, we have something, hopefully a musical extravaganza lined up for him. He himself is only here for about an hour, so there's not really much music involved in what he does. He's going to recite the Angelus, but we do have a lot of input into the time before the Pope arrives to kind of bring the crowd together, I suppose, in preparation for the Pope, and hopefully we'll celebrate Mass when the Pope departs as well.
And will you feature Our Lady of Knock song?
Oh, you couldn't not. And it'll definitely have to be for while the Pope is here, you know, so it's definitely the anthem that is associated with Knock Shrine, so he'll have to hear it.
Well, we wish you well with doing it.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Maria, you're the communications manager here at Knock Shrine. Obviously, August is normally a busy month anyway, but what kind of inquiries or what kind of work you have to do to get ready for the Novena?
Well, the Novena is always a very busy time of year. It's probably our busiest time of year because it's when pilgrims come for the National Novena. So it is the main highlight of the year normally. We get lots of different guest speakers, so there's usually huge interest in it. But obviously this is an exceptional year, so it's just with the papal visit and everything, there's enormous interest in it. There's a great atmosphere, there's a great buzz, so it means it's putting Knock on a whole new scale, really, in terms of the media and everything else.
Well, just on that point, what kind of interest are you getting from the media from around the world now?
There is a huge international media interest, so at the moment there's going to be, it's looking like in or around 900 journalists coming to Ireland for the Royal Meeting of Families and to cover the visit of Pope Francis. Now, only a portion of them will be able to come to Knock. Some of them will go to the Phoenix Park and the other venues. But we are hoping to have maybe about 150 to 200 journalists here on the day. So we'll have a media centre, a place specifically for them set up where they'll be able to report, find out more about Knock, talk to various people, and then obviously they'll be able to document the visit of the Pope himself as well. So there should be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, and a huge undertaking for you and your staff here.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly something new for us. I wasn't here for the last papal visit, so and I think it's going to be very different anyway. Different time, different, I suppose, expectations in terms of the entire visit. So it is definitely something new for us, but it's a fantastic experience, and it's something that we'll all remember for the rest of our lives.
And the exposure Knock is going to get worldwide.
Exactly, because a visit like this from Pope Francis, who is so well liked, the tickets were booked out within hours. So it is putting Knock out there to an international audience, so it's fantastic.
Well, we'll let you get back to your work and your final preparations for the visit, Maria. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Dennis, this used to be the old convent here in Knock.
That's right, yeah. It became a house of pilgrims in 1931 and was run by the Daughters to Charity up to about 18 months ago when the Shrine took it over, and that's when I came to run St Mary's.
So what happened to the order of nuns? Are they all gone? Or?
Well, their numbers would have diminished quite a bit, but there are some still living in the town, and they're just about to move into their new house on out in the Kilchimar Road.
So Knock Shrine has got hold of St Mary's now and decided to turn it into a hostel, is it?
No, not necessarily. It's still going to be a place where pilgrims can come and stay. We have 51 rooms here, all en suite. We started a refurbishment programme last year. We did 20 of the rooms. Hopefully we'll do the balance this winter. So it's not a hostel as such. It's a place of a hostel you envisage to be somewhere with bunk beds or that type of thing, and more young people. Our clientele would be slightly older than that.
Yes. They like the comfort.
They like their comforts and they like to be close to what you can see around you.
Yes.
You know, we're directly across the road from the Apparition Chapel, the old church, and the Basilica, so they couldn't be closer.
So how many can you cater for?
If we have a head on every pillow, we can do 77 people. So we have 77 pillows as such, but we have 51 rooms. It's a combination of singles, twins, and we have some family rooms as well.
And you also have restaurants.
We do. We have a restaurant and a cafe. We have quite a large restaurant that will cater up to 200, and we have a cafe that will do about 50 people, and we have some function facilities as well, and meeting facilities. So.
And when do you hope to have the renovations completed now?
Completely, we'd hope to have the whole place done within 2 years. Hopefully this winter now. If we have a good summer, we'll be able to reinvest into it and break the back of it. So that'll be the hope. Well, traditionally the Novena would be very busy for us. We would fill for the Novena time, that's the 14th, from the 14th of August. But obviously there's been a lot more phone calls this year for the papal visit, as you can imagine. We can't accommodate everybody during that small period. But August traditionally would be very busy for us. You know, June, July, August, September would be very, very strong.
And are you open all year round?
We didn't last year, but the hope is that we may this year.
And off season, is there special rates? That...
Oh, always.
Yeah.
We'll always talk to people.
Yeah. So if people want more information, then it's about St Mary's here.
You can contact us through the Shrine, or you can contact us direct at St Mary, or through the Knock Shrine website. That's available all year round.
Looking forward to the papal visit?
I am. It makes James. I used to do things like the Rose of Tralee in the past, and I thought I came here for quite life. But it will be. It's an exciting time. It'll put Knock back in the map again in our eyes, and it'll put people in people's minds. So hopefully that'll give us an all-year-round knock on, and I'd say it'll be good. I've no doubt it'll be good.
We opened here on the 17th of May in 1999, and we've been going from strength to strength since then.
So what kind of people come and stay over now? What's the kind of duration for guests?
Duration of the guests, really, there can be 2 and 3 nights on our packages that are dinner, bed and breakfast. They would be coming primarily in relation to Knock Shrine, visiting the shrine, either before or after, you know, kind of praying for something that might be needed, or coming back and saying thank you. Then you have another mix of people that are coming up for a weekend, for a long weekend, visiting the area, visiting Westport, heading off up to Sligo. And then there's quite a few tours coming in and out of the hotel as well every year, from Germany, from the UK, and flying in through Ireland West Airport.
So how many bedrooms, how many can you cater for in total?
We have 68 bedrooms, we can hold about 120 people. And occupancy is very, very good, obviously in high season. But the winter months are quite good as well, and we have a lot of weekends arranged over the winter period, and we're open right throughout the year. We have a Christmas package, and we have a New Year package as well.
With the Novena now coming up, is that a particularly busy time for the hotel? Exceptionally
busy, yes. From about the weekend before that, we normally have Sister Bríd McKenna coming in, and then we have the Novena running right through. And this year then in particular, instead of winding down, we're actually going to wind up another bit for the arrival of the Pope on Sunday the 26th.
And of course, you, as well as people staying in the hotel, you have day trippers coming in for lunch and afternoon tea, and of course you're going to deal with that on the day as well.
You have. Well, you have that all year round, and even that would be exceptional during the Novena, where again you'd have very little business booked, but you'd have very transient traffic coming in through the doors, and the same all day. And back in the evening then, before the Novena starts at 8:30, we'd open the restaurant early at 5 o'clock, and we'd just take them as they come.
It's the main hotel, as I mentioned. It's actually on the grounds of Knock Shrine, which is a great asset, isn't it?
It is. It's within the 100 acres of Knock Shrine. I mean, there are lovely walks there, and you're literally out our front door and you're in to the shrine grounds. As you say, we are part of the shrine grounds as well, and all the trees were taken down last year, and we can literally look straight in at the basilica now, and equally they can look straight in at us and keep an eye on us, I suppose. Yeah.
And what future plans now would you have for the hotel?
Well, we've done the 68 bedrooms in the last 2 years. We spent about 350,000, where we've literally gutted them, put in new carpets, beds, curtains, 32-inch wall-mounted TVs, everything. We've done everything in the rooms. The next phase now, we've started on our restaurant, so we were doing the seating and the new carpets in the restaurant, and then we'll do the lounge upstairs and the lounge downstairs. And that'll be a total refurbishment within the next probably 2 years.
So people want more information.
If they want more information, they can obviously look us up online at knockhousehotel.ie or give us a call. But probably the quickest and the easiest way is to check us out online. We're constantly updating that. We have specials on all year. We have them about a year ahead, and they're available online all the time.
Okay, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. We have lots more to see and do here at Knock Shrine when we come back in part 2. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Frankie, you were very instrumental in setting up the weekly candlelight rosary procession here. They're going back a few years.
Going back 12 or 13 years. I was in Lourdes with the pilgrimage from here, late Monsignor Quinn, who was Castle Barman actually. We were coming down from the Rosary at night. There's a big rosary procession there at night. And I said, you know, we should have this Knock. And he said, what are you talking about? And I said, look, there's nothing in Knock at night for people, and it would be lovely to have a procession. So I kind of hounded him for a number of months, and eventually he said, okay, we'll give it a shot. And he said, the first night, if this is a disaster, he said, we'll blame you, and if it's a success, you will have to put another statue out the back of the basilica.
And would you have many people coming on a weekly basis?
We'd have up to a couple of hundred, you know, depending on various things. You know, people come, if they're staying in Knock, it's something to do at night, to come and from the hotel and the guest houses, and that's nice, or from the surrounding towns. And then we have a lot of regulars, and they've come year after year, the same people, and it's lovely to see them, you know. They just like this event because it's half an hour, come and go afterwards, join in the hymns and recite the Rosary, and that's it.
Now, it's very seasonal, isn't it?
It is, just June, July and August, yeah.
Now, it's different. Now, one of the highlights of the year here in Knock, every year, of course, is the National Novena.
That's right.
So is it different then during that particular period?
Well, during the Novena, there's a ceremony at 3 and also at 8:30. So after the 8:30 at night, there's a procession, weather permitting, and that would be huge. You'd have thousands of people in that. But it all depends on the weather. Otherwise, they say the Rosary inside.
So if people, you know, if they come here and they'd like to participate on the weekly candlelight rosary, do they have to register?
Not at all, no, yeah. Just show up. Just show up and join in and follow the statue. The statue of...
And where's the meeting place for them?
In front of the shrine here, right in front of the shrine, and then they go down and around through the grounds and come back in at the end, and then the priest will, that's giving out the Rosary, will bless religious objects and give a blessing to everyone, and we have a final hymn and we go home. So it's just a nice half an hour, very tranquil.
It's very spiritual.
Well, about 1.5 million people come here every year. You know, it's the biggest actual tourist attraction in this country.
People probably don't realise.
They don't. And you see, this is the only shrine in the world where the Lamb appeared. And if you look at the actual apparition picture, the Lamb is at the centre of the altar, and it's all about the Lamb. So that's the only place in the world. So Knock is very unique in that. So I like to push that because people don't realise that, you know.
Finally, can I just ask you, obviously the Pope's visit here at the end of the month, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's great. I was here for the last one, and I think it'll be great for Knock. It'll give it a higher boost, you know, internationally. You see, most of the European shrines you can drive to from, we would say, Fatima, Lourdes, all those, you can drive through Europe to get to them, but you have to cross the sea to come here. So it's more difficult to get people here, if you know what I'm trying to say. So hopefully it will boost numbers, but people are still coming here from all over the world, and it's wonderful. And Knock it's special. It's special.
So you're getting ready now for your weekly candlelight procession. That's now right. Get underway shortly.
Yes, well, we have the stewards and handmaids, and they come with the statue, and the people just join in behind. And hopefully we'll be outside. If not, we'll be in the basilica. So you're all very welcome to join in, and we'll be delighted to have you.
What's the history of the museum here now?
Well, Henry, I always say the museum is the place to start when you come to Knock. Like any place, all of us, when we travel all over the world, the museum is the place to go to get the history and to get the whole story of what exactly happened here in 1879. So essentially the museum tells the story of the Knock apparition, but not only that, because I think all of us agree that an apparition is a mystery. So in the museum we put the apparition in the context of when it happened. So you get to see life around this area in 1879, from the thatched house to the forge, just to try and help us have a better understanding of the apparition. For me personally, I love to hear people's stories, and working in the museum as I am for well over 20 years, nearing 30 years at this stage, I've heard so many amazing stories. And about maybe 10 or 15 years ago in the museum we decided we were going to start recording and collecting these stories. So we were asking people when they come in the door, will they tell us their stories of coming to Knock? And we have an amazing collection that you can sit and listen to in the museum. Just people, ordinary people, telling their stories of coming here, why they come here, their devotion to Our Lady of Knock, and why they come back year after year as they do. I might just share one story that I really stuck with me. It was a lady that I interviewed a few months ago, and she was in her 90s. She said the first year she came to Knock from Longford was in 1939. Isn't that quite amazing? She's been coming every year since then. But she said they came by bus, and she said that there was a leak in the roof of the bus in 1939. So her job was to sit there as a child and hold a bucket to catch the drops. And she said her mother and her mother's neighbour were sitting behind her with their umbrellas up. So isn't that just a lovely story? But we hear such amazing stories. You know, people who come, let's say a father who came, and people take time out when they come to Knock, and that's the one thing that every pilgrim to Knock has in common. They take some time out from their ordinary lives and their daily busy lives, because we're all so busy, just a bit of time out for reflection and prayer.
And how long roughly does the tour take here?
Well, you could spend all day, and people do. We always love to see people come back the next day. You know what we have actually in the museum? We have an amazing collection of some of the original handwritten testimonies of the witnesses. We have about 120 handwritten letters of cures. You could very happily sit and browse through all of those beautifully written, beautifully articulated letters.
I know this is an exciting time for Knock as well, because the last Pope, of course, you have a lot of memorabilia here in the museum.
We do indeed.
Pope John Paul. In fact, you have a cheery set on as well.
We do indeed. Donated by Seamus O'Hara from Swinford, and it was based on a Vatican design, so you can see it's quite intricate and it's quite Italian looking. We're having a new one made for this visit, very much in keeping with I suppose, the ethos of the current Pope, which I think everybody really appeals to all of us. You know, he's a great love of the poor, he continues to live a very simple life, and he's a great belief in social justice and caring for the environment. And so will there be a section devoted to his visit to Knock now in the museum? There will indeed, in time, Henry. We're asking people to, you know, donate their tickets that they have kept, any letters, any souvenirs, and because it's really people's stories that really make these objects come alive. Just one other point, of all the artefacts you have here, which is the one that gets the most feedback on or attention? I'd probably say the thatched house, because so many of our visitors, some of them grew up in a thatched house, some of them remember their parents or their grandparents' thatched house, and when you walk into that thatched house, there's complete silence. And just, we don't experience that silence anywhere in our lives. It brings back so many memories for people. You hear people sharing stories, talking about their own youths. So I do think there's a lovely feeling in that thatched house. Sometimes you can just hear the clock ticking, and none of us have quiet houses like that anymore with technology and PlayStations and whatnot.
When you're taking the tour of the museum, Grace mentioned, of course, that you can get an audio version of some of the stories from people over the years that have come to Knock and the memories of being here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now. You pick up this earpiece and you can listen in to some of the stories now of people who have great memories of coming here. Father Richard, a lovely day here to be in Knock. A lot of people around, but there seems to be a lot of work going on around Knock as well.
There is, Henry, an awful lot of work going on for a number of reasons. The prime reason is that we're getting a special visitor from Rome on the 26th of August next. His Holiness Pope Francis is coming. So we're just getting things, the little bits and pieces and all the, just making sure that we've the best foot forward and that there's nothing impeding anything in terms of cameras or communications or media, or even simply the Pope going around in his Pope mobile. So there's a lot of work happening.
Why do you think he decided to come to Knock?
I think for the main reason is his devotion to Our Lady and to St. Joseph. And it's a unique element of the apparition here that it is Ireland's national Marian Shrine, but it's also a Eucharistic shrine, but he has great devotion to Our Lady, huge devotion to St. Joseph, and they're both part of the apparition itself that took place in 1879. So I think that appealed to him. But not only that, there's also an interesting element for World Meeting of Families, because that's why he's coming to the country. My predecessor, Monsignor Joe Quinn, used to say, when Our Lady came, she brought the family with her. St. Joseph, St. John the Evangelist and the Lamb of God symbolising the Lord himself. So there's a wonderful connection there for family and also for his own devotion.
His itinerary when he comes here, Father, what's
His itinerary now is quite clear. He leaves Dublin Airport with Aer Lingus jet to Knock Airport, which we're very, very happy about, because I think James Horn will be doing a little dance in heaven when that happens. So he lands in at Knock Airport at 9:20 in the morning, Sunday morning. He comes down by motorcade to the back of the Basilica, where he transfers into a Pope mobile. And then he goes through 45,000 people who will be gathered here to welcome him. And he'll proceed then to the Apparition Chapel here behind me, where he'll spend some private time in prayer with some people. And after that, we estimate that maybe 10 minutes or so, he'll come outside and he'll proceed here then to a special staged area, where he will address the people, and then together everybody will recite the Angelus. All in all, it'll be about an hour or so. He'll depart from Knock here then at about 11 o'clock or so, and proceed back to the airport and then back to Dublin.
Now, of course, the other big highlight in August is the annual Novena. And is that going to be different this year, do you think, because of the papal visit? Is there going to be constraints on it?
Not so many constraints that I've been told anyway. I think we're free enough with the Novena, but obviously the Novena is focused on faith and family. So because of the World Meeting of Families, so it'll be focused on that. And we still have our 2 sessions a day at 3 o'clock and 8:30, and also our seminars that will be conducted at 12 and 6 in the afternoon. So I think we'll get more people. It's about handling the numbers. Everybody is welcome. We'd be delighted to see everybody. No restrictions on anybody coming to it. The restrictions really don't come into place until well after the Novena is over, about a day or two before the Pope comes.
What are you looking forward to mostly about the papal visit to Knock?
I think, well, obviously the visit of the Pope himself and just meeting him. I've met him twice already, but just meeting him here on your own ground. I've met him in Rome, so it's nice to meet him on your own home territory. But also the fact that he'll engage with the people, and that it is a massively historic occasion. Nearly 40 years, Henry, since the last one, that you can see at the Papal Cross where Pope John Paul was here. So I'm just looking forward to the whole atmosphere and the kind of expectation of joy that awaits him and that we'll have ourselves.
Well, we've had a wonderful day here at Knock Shrine, and I can tell you, if you are coming, make it a full day because there's so much to see and do. And as you know, August Novena is coming up now, starting on the 14th, and then of course the papal visit at the end of the month. So it's all happening here. So if you are coming, enjoy it immensely. Now don't forget, coming up after the break, we're crossing over to Manchester to join Martin Logan, who is out and about once again with the Irish community right across the UK. So from all of us here in Knock Shrine, Slán go fóill, look forward to your company, same time next week.